Christian ran up the road, although it was very difficult, because the burden was still on his back. Just as he came to the foot of the cross, his burden came loose and fell from his back. It tumbled and tumbled until it tumbled into a tomb, and it was never seen again. Then Christian was glad and said, "Jesus has given me rest by his sorrow and life by his death." He just stood and looked at the cross for the longest time, surprised that just the sight of it would make the burden fall from his back. He looked and looked at the cross until tears began to roll down his cheeks. Now as he stood there, looking and crying, 3 shining ones came to him and greeted him. "Peace be to you," said the first one. "Your sins have been forgiven," said the second. He then removed Christian's filthy rags and gave him clean new clothes. The third one put a mark on Christian's forehead and gave him a scroll with a seal on it. He told Christian to read from the scroll as he travelled on his way, and then to hand it in when he reached the celestial city. As the shining ones left Christian alone, he gave 3 leaps for joy and went on his way singing, "This far I came, burdened with my sin. Nothing could ease the grief that I was in until I came here. What a place is this! Must here be the beginning of my bliss? Must here the burden fall from my back? Blessed cross, blessed tomb! Blessed rather be the man that there was put to shame for me." The way that Christian was now travelling had high walls on either side, and as he walked, 2 men came tumbling over. Their names were Formalist and Hypocrisy. "Gentlemen," Christian said, "where have you come from, and where are you going?"
"We were born in the land of vain glory. We are going to the celestial city in order to be praised."
"Why didn't you enter at the gate?"
"The gate is much too far out of our way. Everyone from our country takes this same shortcut and climbs in over the wall."
"But isn't that a crime? The Lord has said we may only enter this way at the gate."
"Oh, don't trouble yourself about it. People have been doing this for over 1,000 years. And besides, what does it matter how we get in? If we're in, we're in. You came in at the gate, and you are on the way. We tumbled over the wall, and now we are on the way. So how are you any better than us?"
"The difference is that I am obeying the Master, and you are not. You have entered the way without his permission, and you will leave it without his mercy."
"Worry about yourself. We will be just as careful to obey all of the rules as you will."
"Just obeying the rules will not save you, since you have not come in through the gate." Formalist and Hypocrisy only looked at one another and laughed. Christian walked on. Reaching into his coat pocket, he took out a small scroll. The scroll was very precious to Christian. It was given to him at the cross, and was the proof that he was a pilgrim. When he reached the celestial city, he would need it in order to be let in. Christian often looked at his scroll because it reminded him that no matter what happened, he was on his way to the celestial city. Formalist, Hypocrisy, and Christian soon came to a hill called Difficulty. To stay on the right way, they would have to climb right over the hill. There were also two other trails that you could follow. One led off to the right, and one to the left. But Christian would not leave the way. Instead, he ran straight up the hill. Formalist and Hypocrisy, on the other hand, looked up at the hill and saw that it was steep and rocky. Both of them decided it would be better to leave the way for now. One of them followed a trail called Danger, and it led him into a great dark forest. The other followed a path called Destruction, which led him to a wide field where he fell and never rose again. And then, in my dream, I looked to find Christian. I saw that as he went up the hill, he fell from running to walking, to climbing on his hands and knees, because the hill got steeper and steeper. Halfway up the hill was a pleasant spot with shade trees and flowers growing all around. It was called an arbor, and the Lord himself had planted it there so that weary travelers could rest. Christian sat down there and stretched his tired arms and legs. He then reached into his coat pocket, took out his scroll, and began to read. Before too long, he fell fast asleep, and the little scroll fell from his hand.